Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I wanted to dive a little more into some PC gaming. I was on the forum the other day, and a member or two had mentioned that the replay was their first experience with PC gaming. I was pretty excited to hear this. I used to be exclusively a console player up until about 5 or so years ago. I transitioned over to PC and have enjoyed a vastly superior gaming experience ever since. Thus, I am more than happy to help share that with other gamers. Moving along, if we're going to be getting into some gaming, we're going to want to consider adding more space. If you have not picked up a hard drive bay, they are now in stock once again at Amazon. You can pick one up for $20. They are sold by ASIN directly, the manufacturer of a model very similar to the replay that is called the AK1. Multiple forum users have purchased these last time they were available, and I have not heard of any issues regarding them. For the time being, there's a $2 off coupon as well as free shipping. Next up, if you're looking for a keyboard to help navigate the stock front end, Windows, Launchbox, RetroPie, so on and so forth, I have personally been using the Logitech K400 Plus. I bought mine for around $18, and it seems to be that the price went up last week. Now it is up to $25. If you don't need it right away, I would keep an eye on it and see if it goes back on sale. If you're looking to get into getting comfortable using a keyboard and mouse to play games or as a general input device, it would be worth looking into getting a separate mouse and keyboard setup. Perhaps even look into a mechanical keyboard. The next thing I would like to take a look at is a few steps that we can use to squeeze a little more oomph out of the replay. Since the hardware is a little on the low end, every little bit helps. The first and most important thing would be to update the drivers. We can do this by going to our system tray and clicking on the Intel Driver and Support Assistant. Doing so will bring up a context menu. Then we can click to check for updates. This will launch a web page that will perform a scan to see if any new drivers are available. Sometimes installing a new driver can fix some issues. For instance, I could not get audio working in BitTrip Runner 2, no matter what I tried. Thankfully, updating my graphics driver fixed this issue for me. The next thing we can do is to pull up a context menu on our desktop here and select display settings. Inside the display settings, we want to make sure that it is set to 720p. Depending on what type of display we're using, it might default to 1080p. Turning the resolution down will let the replay focus more on frames over trying to push out a 1080p display. Now, we will want to pull up the start menu. Mine looks a little different because I'm using classic start menu. I think it gives a more clean look than the stock start menu. In our search box here, we're going to want to type power and then select choose a power plan. In this menu, we're going to want to make sure that high performance is selected. Lastly, we will want to go to our desktop, hold down the Windows key, and press the letter R. This will bring up a run dialog box. In the run box here, we're going to want to type system properties performance.exe. This will bring us to the visual effects tab of the performance options menu. We will want to select adjust for best performance. This will uncheck all of the extra flashy visual elements. Now we're going to want to set up our controller. If you ordered a replay with one controller, it will be one that is in the style of a PlayStation 3 controller. It uses a 2.4 GHz USB dongle. You will want to plug it in to one of the two USB 0.0 ports on the replay. One is on the side with the two blue 3.0 ports, and the other is on the side with most of the other inputs. If you're having problems with the stock controller, once plugged in, first make sure it is well charged. It uses a USB Mini B type cord. Next, try setting the controller close to the replay, and finally, double tapping the middle sync button should do the trick. If not, repeat the process trying a different USB port. Most USB wired controllers should work. I used to use a wired Afterglow brand 360 controller. Until recently, it was my go-to controller. You can also use Bluetooth controllers. I tested a few. I gave the SteelSeries Stratus XL a try first, since it was a bit cheaper than the official Xbox One controller. I ran into a ton of issues in Windows and even more in Linux. Some buttons would not work, sometimes Steam and Windows identified it correctly, other times it came up as an Xbox 360 controller. So my advice would be to snag an official Xbox One controller when they are on sale. That being said, Walmart had them on sale for Black Friday, so I did just that. I also picked up a rechargeable battery pack to go along with it. Save yourself the hassle and get an official controller. Just make sure they're the version that supports Bluetooth. Once we have a Bluetooth controller, we will need to pair it in Windows. To do this, we will want to go to our system tray, then click the Bluetooth icon and select Add a Bluetooth device. Once there, make sure the Bluetooth is turned on and select Add a Bluetooth or other device. Then select Bluetooth and press the pairing button on top of your Xbox One controller. It will then show up as an input with a controller icon like shown here. Once paired, it should be listed as an Xbox One controller. Now, if you have the multiple controller bundle from Dreamcade, they should have included at least one NES 30 Pro controller, and that one is a little more tricky to turn into pairing mode. So when you have your controller, you're gonna have to hold the home button and one of the face buttons to set that into pairing mode. I can't remember off the top of my head which is which, but I have a knockoff one I use, and it's something like if you hold the home button and the X button, would be PC mode. If you hold the home button and the A button, it would be Android mode, and if you hold the home button and the Y button, it would be Switch mode. So you're going to have to play with that one a little bit to dial it in, but once you have it in the correct pairing mode, it'll be the same as getting the Xbox One controller hooked up to the replay. Alright, so I guess we'll take a look at some games here. So what I've been doing is I'll launch Steam Big Picture mode here on the replay, and it'll bring up a console-like UI and allow me to use my controller. So what I've been doing is going into my library, going to my games, and if you scroll over to filter games, we can do ones that are controller supported. Now, these don't all seem to be controller supported out of the box. I've ran into 2 or 3 of them that still need to be configured after you boot, but it'll narrow us down a little bit and give us an idea. So usually, if you're just coming into this, if you don't have any games, I would make sure to double check the specs of the replay, which I mentioned in one of my prior videos, and then just making sure that it's close or that it's under before you start spending any money on games. But since I already have so many, I've installed Fraps, which allows me to keep an eye on the frames per second in the corner of the screen here when I launch a game, and I've just been kind of throwing some games at it and seeing what sticks and what doesn't. So I figure we just go through a couple here. One of the ones that I've been playing a little bit that I enjoy is Bit Blaster XL. It's one of the XL series here. There's about 5 games that are nice little casual time wasters. This one's a little more involved than the other ones, but definitely still a fun one to play for a little bit. Once it's installed, you click to play, give it a second, it'll fire right up. And once the game boots up here, go ahead and click play, and then we can select our ship. I've been playing a little bit ahead of time, so usually these next 2 are locked, but I happen to pay a couple credits already and unlock them. We'll just grab the first ship here, that's how people speak. But anyhow, so point of the game is to see what kind of high score we can get, collect coins along the way so we can purchase more ships, and just have a good old fun time. And some ships have different abilities compared to other ones. I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm not much of a speaker without a script, unfortunately. I have a bad habit of rambling on, but it comes and goes. So the little ones only take 1 shot, and the bigger ones, once you shoot them once, they'll break up into 4 pieces here. And then of course we can pick up different power-ups along the way. Anyway, now that we've got all our setup out of the way and we played a little bit of Bit Blaster, next time around I'm working on researching what games work better, what games don't work so well, and I'm going to set up a list and we're going to strictly go through some different games on the replay. And I'm going to debate whether or not I'm going to ramble on while I play them. So you guys let me know if you'd rather have me try to script something out or just ramble on, and I'll go from there for our next video. Thanks for watching this one and sticking with me. Until next time, happy gaming.